Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to today's Sohbet and Dhikr on this Thursday, the 11th of the 2nd of 2021. I hope everybody is well, wherever you are tuning into this from. Pray you and your families are well. This is a testing time for everybody this year. We're still not out of the woods with regards to this coronavirus, and lockdown is it's affecting all of us in one way or another, wherever we live in this world. But today I would like to dedicate my Sohbet and Dhikr to my first Shaykh, Sufi Abdullah. Those of you who are watching on Zoom or on Facebook, you can see a photo of him in the background. And those who watch the recorded version later on YouTube will be able to do the same, inshallah. Sufi Abdullah was my first Shaykh for 16 years. Full name, Sufi Muhammad Abdullah Khan. He was an Naqshbandi Shaykh following Zinda Pir, who was based in Gamgol Sharif, which is near Kohat in northern Pakistan. Sufi Abdullah came here during I believe it was after the war anyway, during the 50s or 60s. And he set up a community in Birmingham. Well, there was a community already there, a diaspora community. But he was sent over by his Sheikh Zindapir to support this community spiritually. Because a lot of the people who had settled in Birmingham and in the United Kingdom, they had settled here for, economic reasons. They'd come over to work in the factories and in industries of various different kinds after the war, and to make up for the fact that there was a lot of damage to the British economy during the Second World War. There was a lot of rebuilding to be done. Many men had died, many British men had died, and also Commonwealth men had died during the First and Second World Wars, which weren't really that far apart historically. So this was a lot of people died. And so after these wars, there was an awful lot of rebuilding to do within Britain. And it was, in many of our cities had been bombed really severely. The infrastructure within the United Kingdom was also seriously damaged and needed to be rebuilt. A lot of facilities, homes, all manner of things. And people were invited during that period of time to come to the United Kingdom from Commonwealth nations. So among them was a community of people who settled here from Pakistan and India. And among them were a lot of Muslims. So Sufi Abdullah was sent by his Sheikh Zindabir to the United Kingdom to support these Muslims in particular, so that they support them spiritually. Because there wasn't too much here at that time. There was the Association of British Muslims, which had developed amongst the indigenous community of Muslims in the United Kingdom, and also those who had settled in small numbers previously in places like Cardiff and Liverpool, London. But these were much smaller numbers of immigrants who had settled here, much smaller communities. There was no large migration of Muslims on the scale of what happened during the 50s and 60s until that time. So of course, it may well have been a capacity issue as well, that the Association of British Muslims at that time may not have been able to support all of these diaspora Muslims. And so they had to set up their own infrastructures and communities. And also the Association of British Muslims was doing things in a very British way that had developed since 1889, when the organization was founded. So, the people who settled here from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and various other countries. They were not necessarily familiar with the way the Association of British Muslims was handling things. So this also created a situation whereby they may not have felt comfortable with everything that the Association of British Muslims was doing. But I think it was also a situation where there was just it was capacity. You know, there was. I mean, maybe if they had joined in with the Association of British Muslims activities at that time, and also supported the association, maybe the association could have grown to support these communities at that particular time. But as things were, the organizations were set up, various mosques were set up, and you know, the association did its best to network with all of these new organizations, and play whatever constructive role that we could in that process. So Sufi Abdullah, he actually worked very hard. He worked 16-hour shifts in a foundry when he was a young man. And while he was doing this, he also organized classes to teach people about Islam and regular zikrs every week. So the amount of dedication that Sufi Abdullah gave was remarkable, especially given the fact that he was working 16 hours a day in a foundry. To be honest, how he did it, I do not know. The man had superhuman strength and resilience and stamina in order to be able to do this. I mean, even I remember I obviously knew him only within the last 16 years of his life. So I knew Sufi Abdullah pretty much how he appears in this photo that I put on Zoom. He was an older man when I knew him, but he was strong. He was big and he was strong. And this is something that I remember about Sufi Abdullah. His presence was really powerful, both physically, but also spiritually. And obviously, when you're in the presence of Sufi Abdullah, you would feel this. You would feel both. You'd see he was a man of great presence physically, but also you would feel that he was spiritually powerful as well if you were sensitive to that. And he struck awe into me. I remember when I first met Sufi Abdullah, and also when I sat with him and asked him if I could take bay'ah. And I don't know, maybe at the time, Sufi Abdullah was exactly what I needed. He provided important support for me at that time in my life. I used to attend his regular zikrs at the Gangoh Sharif Mosque in Birmingham, which I believe was started to be built around 1997. I only remember the completed mosque. I didn't see it in construction because I wasn't living in that part of Birmingham at the time. I used to visit afterwards when the mosque had been completed. And it's always been a very impressive mosque. But also, I do, even before I met Sufi Abdullah, and I used to sit in there and pray, I always felt it was a beautiful feeling just being in that mosque. Whereas some mosques, I've even been to mosques where I've really felt like not hanging around, where the walls weren't even plastered properly, and they were they felt cold. And I don't mean like in terms of temperature. Heating was often on, but they felt cold. But I never felt that in Gangoh Sharif. I always felt a warm feeling, and it felt very blessed. And I feel this was from the fact that this was built by Sufi Abdullah and by his community. A lot of them chipped in themselves to actually build the building, to actually place the bricks, Sufi Abdullah included. Which, I mean, this in itself, it's deeply impressive that the man actually worked on the mosque himself and put some of the big bricks himself. And there are photos of this that still exist. And he was already quite a senior age when he was doing this. And this is an example for all of us, not to shy away from physical work and from even working hard on things that, I mean, obviously he wasn't for financial benefit. This was for the sake of Allah. And this is remarkable. And this mosque was built with love. And I think there's a lesson in that as well, that when something is built with love, you feel it. If you just do something just like, you order something and it gets done for you, you have a contract, it's not the same. But when something is built with love and everybody who's involved in it cares about what they're doing, and especially when they're doing it for the sake of Allah, there's tremendous blessing. I mean, the real mosque is not the building. Anybody can have a building. It's not the building, it's the community that is in that building. If you have an amazing community, they can hire any building or buy any building, and you will feel the warmth of that community. But if you just have a building and there isn't that kind of community spirit, you don't feel that kind of atmosphere, then obviously it doesn't matter how amazing architecturally a building is, it won't feel that. I mean, there's another little mosque that I visit often, this mosque Sufi center, the Heart Center in Ward End, and that is a recycled building. It used to be something else. It's in a housing estate, and it's down a little drive. You got the gate at the front. You go down this little drive, and it's a hidden treasure at the end of the drive. It wasn't built purposely as a mosque. It's a recycled building that was refurbished as a Sufi center and a mosque. And that place is so warm because everybody there is sincere and so full of love, and you feel it when you enter. So it's not about the physical structure, but it is about the community. But at the same time, anything which we create, if we create it with love, then you will also feel that. And it doesn't have to be a building, it could be anything. But Sufi Abdullah had a profound influence on me, especially during those 16 formative years after I embraced Islam in the year 2000. I met Sufi Abdullah within the first 6 months. I remember I embraced Islam on the 1st of March, 1st of March in the year 2000. So literally in a couple of weeks. And I would have been a Muslim for 21 years. And I met Sufi Abdullah within about 6 months of embracing Islam, which I regard as tremendous good fortune and blessing, because within those first 6 months of embracing Islam, I met my Shaykh, and I also met a lot of Maulana Sheikh Nazim's murids who become very close friends of mine. So I was in touch with very good people for the past 21 years. And that is, I'm very thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for granting that to me. Because it is really important. A religion can be true. A religion can be haq. But a religion isn't just the teachings of the religion. It is the people. It is the community. And you can embrace a true religion. But if the people are no good, the people aren't following it properly, the people are insincere or worse, then what impression are you going to have of that religion? It's really very important that we meet good people when we come into a religion. And those people, especially people who've been along the path for a long time. I mean, people, sometimes you get other Muslims who learn from books and they've not really had a sheikh, and they wonder, why do some Muslims follow a sheikh? But a sheikh is a living guide. A sheikh is a teacher. A sheikh is someone who has already been down that road. They are, you know, just like I've been living Islam for the past 21 years. So for someone who's new to Islam, or even someone from a traditional Muslim family, but they've never really learned about it, so they're new in a different way to Islam, then many of them commented they found my presence, they found spending time with me or talking to me, they found that beneficial. So I've been living this for 21 years. And someone like Sufi Abdullah, who was living it for decades of his life. Another good friend of mine, Shaykh Kabani, who has spent 60 years of his life dedicated to the deen, to teaching Islam, to looking after young murids. And these are amazing people. And this is the reason that we benefit from, you know, if we find someone good like that, we benefit from spending time with them and from learning from them. And you can't really compare that to learning from books. You see, if all we needed was a book, then would Prophet Muhammad have even been necessary? Allah could have sent a book floating down from the sky. But no, the Quran was revealed to the Prophet Muhammad over a significant period of his life. And then it was transcribed, a portion at a time, onto whatever materials they had available to write this down, and eventually transferred to paper that we have today. But the Quran wasn't always in the form of a book. When there were hadiths about when the Prophet Muhammad was asked about the Quran, and where is your book? By people of other religions, you know, they will say, we have a book, where is your book? And, you know, it was the companions of the Prophet Muhammad. They were the book. Because they had memorized the Quran and they were living the Quran. They were the living Quran, they were the living book. Well, alhamdulillah, we are still fortunate. There are some people today in this world who are like living Qurans. They are actually living the teachings. They're not just a book. Because obviously a human being is not a book. But they're actually living it. And when you see someone living Islam, truly, properly, how it is meant to be lived, or to the best of their ability. I mean, no one is perfect, but you see something which you do not see when you just read a book. And this is why we follow sheikhs. This is why it's important and beneficial to follow someone who is living the deen. Sufi Abdullah, may Allah bless his soul, always taught me to do my zikr, to always do zikr with prayers, to try to remember Allah all the time in my life. And he encouraged me to study as well, to study the Quran, to read the Quran, to understand the Quran. Sufi Abdullah actually says to me that if we really understand the Quran, then it's got everything we need. The answers are in the Quran. So he implored me to study the Quran and to really try my best to understand the Quran. And this is something that, to the best of my ability, I have tried to do. And Sufi Abdullah also taught me that wherever there was a good teacher who was teaching something that was beneficial to learn from them. And also anybody who was doing zikr. Zikr is a beautiful thing. So unless I see something wrong with what they are doing, then it's good to join them to do zikr. I miss Sufi Abdullah. Allah bless his soul. So I'm not going to speak too much today. And as we are remembering Sufi Abdullah, then I'm going to read the zikr of Sufi Abdullah today. Whereas often I read Maulana Shaykh Nazim's dhikr. Today I'll read the one that Sufi Abdullah used to read. Now, before we start the zikr, we should always check our intentions and make sure that what we are doing is purely for the pleasure of God. In Arabic, Allah. نويت الأبين نويت الأسنى نويت القوى نويت الاتكاف نويت السلوك نويت الريادة لله تعالى بهدى جميل. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. Now, before I go into the Khatam of Sufi Abdullah, I'm going to read Astaghfirullah. It's good to read Astaghfirullah. Maybe we should always seek Allah's forgiveness, because all of us make mistakes. All of us are sinful. Sometimes the mistakes are obvious. Sometimes the mistakes are not obvious. So it's always good to read Astaghfirullah and to ask Allah's forgiveness for those sins that we know about and those sins that we don't know about. Many of us do things accidentally without even realizing that maybe Allah is not happy with. So we should read Astaghfirullah and ask Allah's forgiveness. Astaghfirullah, 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 astaghfirullah. أستغفر العظيم الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم وأتوب إليه إنه هو التواب الرحيم من كل ذنب ومعصية ومن كل ما يخالف دين الإسلام من كل ما يخالف الشريعة من كل ما يخالف طريقة من كل ما يخالف معرفة من كل ما يخالف حقيقة من كل ما يخالف لازمة يا رحمن الرحيمين يا الله اللهم يا مسبب الأسباب يا مفاتيح الأبواب يا مقلب القلوب والأبصار يا دلائل المتخيرين يا غيث المستحيين يا حي يا قيوم يا ذو الجلال والإكرام وفريد الأمر الله إن الله بصير بالعباد رابط الشريف. Direct your heart to the heart of your Shaykh. الفاتحة بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. الصلوات الشريفة اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. بسم الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين. يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين. يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين. يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين. يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين. يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين. يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين. يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين. يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين. يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين. يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين. يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين. يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين. يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين. يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين. يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين. يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين. يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين. يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين. الظالمين يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين يا حي يا قيوم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ربي قد أتيتني من الملك ورحمتني من تأويل الحديث فطير السماوات والأرض أنت وليه في الدنيا والآخرة توفاني مسلمان والإكني بالصالحين. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون والسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين إلا الشرف النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وآله وصحبه الكرام وإلى أرواح أنبياء ومرسلين وقدماء الشرعين وإلى أمات أبواب وإلى مشتركين في طريق النقشبندية آية كستان الآل وجدان الفاتحة بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم 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 لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا الله يا رحمن يا رحيم يا حي يا قيوم يا الله يا رحمن يا رحيم يا حي يا قيوم يا الله يا رحمن يا رحيم يا حي يا قيوم يا الله يا رحمن يا رحيم يا حي يا قيوم يا الله يا رحمن يا رحيم يا حي يا قيوم يا الله يا رحمن يا رحيم يا حي يا قيوم يا الله يا رحمن يا رحيم يا حي يا قيوم يا الله يا رحمن يا رحيم يا حي يا قيوم يا الله يا رحمن يا رحيم يا حي يا قيوم يا الله يا رحمن يا رحيم يا حي يا قيوم يا الله يا رحمن يا رحيم يا حي يا قيوم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. سلام قولم من رب رحیم. 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 بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. نور محمد صلی علی. 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 نور محمد صلی علی 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 اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الله الصمد 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 Allahu Samad, 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 Allahu Samad. Allahumma salli ala Seyyidina Muhammadin wa ala ali Seyyidina Muhammadin wa barik wa salim. Allahumma salli ala Seyyidina Muhammadin وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. There is no God except God. In Arabic, La ilaha illallah, 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 La ilaha illallah. 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 Muhammed Rasulullah sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem. Allahümme salli ala seyyidina Muhammedin ve ala ali seyyidina Muhammedin ve barik ve selim. Allahümme salli ala seyyidina Muhammedin وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Only God. Only God. Illallahu illallah. 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 illallahu, illallah, 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 illallahu, illallah. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammadin wa barik wa salim. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammadin وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allah is with you. Allah is. Allahu. Allah is. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahu. 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 Allahu, 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 Allahu. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammadin wa barik wa salim. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammadin wa barik wa salim. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammadin wa barik wa salim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The last zikr is a quiet zikr. We breathe in and think of Allah within our hearts rather than our mind. Feel Allah within our hearts as we breathe in, and feel the light from Allah descending through us. And when we breathe out, think of who. And feel that light coming from our hearts, connecting to Allah. Allah who. Allah who. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammadin wa barik wa salim. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammadin وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. صلي ربي والسلام على جميع أنبيائه ومرسلين وعلى كل أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين. على الأشراف من السيدنا محمدين الصلوات على أفضل من السيدنا محمدين الصلوات على أكمل من السيدنا محمدين الصلوات صلوات الله وبركاته وأنبيائه ورسوله وجميع خلقه على محمد وعلى آل محمد عليه وعليهم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. وبركاته تبارك وتعالى عن سادتنا شعب رسول الله أجمعين ونتبعنا بهم بإحسان ونعمة المجتدين أومدين ونعلماء المتقين ونعلياء الصادقين ومشيكين بتلك نقشبنديات عالية قد صلوت لهم الزاكية ونولا أجرت مباركة ونولا ترى أدرت مباركة وتداوتنا علينا من بركاتهم وفيوداتهم دائما والحمد لله رب العالمين. الفاتحة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. Oh Allah, we ask you to shower your blessings upon the soul of the Prophet Muhammad and the souls of everyone in his noble family, his noble ancestors, his noble descendants, and especially the household of the Prophet Muhammad, especially Imams Ali, Hassan, Hussein, Zain al-Abidin, Jafar Sadiq, but all of the Ahlul Bayt, and all of the previous prophets and their noble ancestors and their noble descendants, and the Sahaba Ikram, the Khilafa Rashidin, the ulama, the awliya, and especially my sheikhs, Sufi Abdullah, Maulana Sheikh Nazim. Ya Allah, raise their stations in the divine presence and bless their souls for all eternity. And bless everyone who is connected to them. Make this as a means through which they may be connected to the silsilas of the saints and the soul of the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu. And through this way of adab and love, through to you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And make this as a channel through which blessings may flow. O Allah, shower your blessings upon Sunan Gunung Jati, all of the Wali Songo, the saints of Indonesia. Also Sheikh Yusuf and Sheikh Adang Badruddin, and also my beloved father. Ya Allah, bless their souls for all eternity and raise their stations in your divine presence. O Allah, shower your blessings upon my mum, my mother-in-law and my father-in-law. Grant them to stay in good health. Grant them stronger health, renewed health, spiritually, physically, and mentally. Grant them to be in the best of health, spiritually, physically, and mentally. Ya Allah, grant them long lives. Grant them the best of this life and the best of the hereafter. Grant them success in every good thing which they set their hearts and minds to. Grant them your divine guidance and forgiveness for any mistakes which they have made. O Allah, shower your blessings upon my brother and my sister, my brothers and sisters-in-law, and all of my nieces and nephews. Grant them to be in the best of physical, mental, and spiritual health. Grant them long lives. Grant them success in every good thing which they set their hearts and minds to. Grant them to be under your divine guidance, blessings, and support. And grant them the best of this life and the hereafter. O Allah, shower your special blessings upon my beloved wife, Fiona, and our children, Sophia, Athena, and Elizabeth. Ya Allah, bless our family with your divine protection, your divine guidance, your divine blessings, your forgiveness for our mistakes. The resources that we need in order to look after our family properly and also fulfill all our responsibilities. To you, Allah, by serving a family, community, and those who need. Ya Allah, support this role and forgive me for any shortcomings on my part. Grant me more love for you and Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, more wisdom, more understanding. And thank you so much for the manifold blessings which you provide, of which my thanks can never be enough. No matter how much I thank you, we are forever in debt to you, Allah. Forever. Thank you. And no amount of thanks, there's no thank you that I can give you. No dua, nothing that I can give you that is worthy of the many blessings which you grant me and my family. For those I care about. Allah, forgive us for our shortcomings on our part. Grant us to be in the best physical, mental, and spiritual health. Grant us long lives. Grant us to be in your service and not to be misguided after we have been guided. Grant my wife and my children to be under your divine guidance and support, and never to stray too far from the path, and to return back to it, that path which is good for them, swiftly, and to always be under your divine protection, guidance, and blessings. O Allah, shower your blessings upon my friends, especially those friends who've been with me through thick and thin, especially Shaykh Robin and his family, Mohammed Abbasi and his family, Rafiq and his family, Devinda and his family, Anu and her family, Ghanshyam and his family, Sheikh Mohammed Adil and his family, Sheikh Hisham Kabani and his family, Abid and his family, Abdul Hamid and his family, Nasa and his family, Sharaz and his family, Amran and his family, Sean and his family, Johnny and his family, Anika and her family, Hannah and her family, Pak Diki and his family, Pak Agus and his family, Pak Ridwan and his family, Whitney and her family, Pak Abil and his family, Pak Hassan and his family, Pak Yahya and his family, Pak Benny and his family, Pak Ridwan and his family, Her Majesty the Queen and her family, Dr. Khurshid and his family, Naveed and his family, Sid and his family, Sheikh Amin Evans and his family, Mamadou Bokoum and his family, Zaid Ali Akbar and his family, Rubab and his family, Sani and his family, Bakri Renda and his family, Safi and his family, Sam and his family, Isa and his family, Isa and his family, Dipi and his family. Well, you blessed me with so many friends, good friends, alhamdulillah. Alex and his family, Nahid and her family, Uruj and her family, Sheikh Dawood and his family. Oh Allah, shower your blessings upon all of my friends and everyone who is connected to me, however they are connected, whether through the Naqshbandi Tariqa or the Association of British Muslims, the University of Birmingham Chaplaincy, or Nalut Ulama, Muhammadiyya, or the many interfaith and intrafaith groups that I'm a member of. Ya Allah, shower your blessings upon all of them. And all those people connected to me through the web, through the internet and social media. Ya Allah, however people are connected to me, make this connection a means through which they will be connected to my sheikhs, and through my sheikhs through to the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu, and through the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu to your divine presence. And make this a channel through which blessings, guidance, support, light may flow, and your divine love to all their hearts. And whatever issues that they are facing, whatever difficulties that they are facing, Ya Allah, make things easier for them and bless them. Grant that they be increased in faith and in connection with you, and that lights fill their hearts, divine love fills their hearts, guidance fills their hearts, and they feel supported and loved as they go through life. Ya Allah, bless everyone in our human family. Grant us your forgiveness, for we are weak ones. Grant us your divine support and blessings, for you have honored all the children of Adam. You knew how we were when you created us, Allah, so please forgive us. Guide us, guide everyone in our human family, support everyone in our human family. Grant us the inspiration and wisdom to be able to live our lives in the best possible ways we can, to build the best possible world we can build, and to always remember you, Allah, in our thoughts and in our deeds. And bless all of the creation, all the communities of life which we share this earth with. Bless them all, protect them all. And grant us as human beings the inspiration and the wisdom to be able to live more in harmony with these other communities with which we share this beautiful planet in which you have entrusted us. Allah, inspire us, guide us, forgive us. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. صل ربي وسلم على جميع أنبيائه ومرسلين وعلى كل أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين. الفاتحة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. إلا الشرف النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وآله وصحبه الكرام وإلى أرواح إخواني من الأنبياء والمرسلين وإلى أرواح أئمة الأبواب وإلى أرواح مشايخنا في طريق النقشبندية العالية إلى روح إمام طريقة وقوتي طريقة شاه بودي النقشبند مويد ويسي البكاري وإلى مولانا الشيخ عبدالله فايز الداغستاني وإلى زندبية وإلى صوفي عبدالله وإلى مولانا الشيخ نازم علي اللالكاني وإلى شيخ أدانغ بدر الدين وإلى غوستو وإلى شيخ شمكباني وإلى الشيخ بادشاه وإلى الشيخ حبيب الله وإلى الشيخ داود رسوين وإلى الشيخ محمد الديل وإلى الشيخ نوكباني وإلى سائر سرتين والصديقيون. الفاتحة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. May Allah bless you all, and if you find these videos useful, please don't forget to subscribe to my Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, wherever you're watching them. Tomorrow, look out for my Friday reflections. I will be doing them, inshallah, considerably earlier than I would normally do, maybe even 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning, as I have a busy day tomorrow. But inshallah, if Allah gives me the ability, then I will do them early in the morning. So I wish you all the very best. If you're in the UK, have a nice evening. And wherever you are in the world, may Allah bless you and make things easier for you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuhu.